I think, of terrorism did not receive the kind of emphasis they should have had, and I would like to mention that. Because they had a very vital bearing as to how we are going to react. Firstly, that terrorism is inherently a minority phenomenon. The small number of people supported by, in this case, by a neighbor who is lusting for the territory of Jammu and Kashmir, by pan-Islamic fundamentalist forces, but nevertheless a minority. Because if they had the support of the public, as they claim, then something like what happened in Eastern Europe before the fall of the Soviet Union could have happened. So therefore, while we are engaged in this war, let us remember that our enemy is not as strong as it is made out to be. Through the use of a very vital strategy involved in the psychological warfare. And secondly, the question arose during yesterday's discussion about people dying in crossfires and who is responsible for that. Unfortunately, that question was not addressed. See, we have to remember that so in majority security forces hurts the civilians. They will kill innocents. No, take the instance of Abu Zubair.
The most distinguished practitioner and propagator of human rights in the space. Mr. Puri, please.
Mr. Nazarendra Rathod, Mr. Julia, Mr. Riyaz Punjabi, Mr. K. Panta, members of the academic community, and young citizens. I call them citizens, not of tomorrow but of today. They have certain responsibilities which they have somehow been thrust upon the younger generation, and I suppose that they should presume themselves to be citizens of today. I join my colleagues in congratulating Mr. Rathod. Firstly, because she is presiding over Golden Jubilee of her college. Secondly, she has chosen a topic for the seminar which is very much relevant for the people of the state. And as I gather from the comments I just heard, that it was a remarkable success. It covered a broad spectrum of views. Unfortunately, I could not be benefited by those views, but just present my own views on the subject. The subject has been placed in the context of security challenges. It is somehow presumed that security and human rights, and even some people would suggest factors of human rights, are antagonistic concepts. But there was a time where security used to be considered only in the context of military might, no more so. Security of a nation doesn't depend upon army and arms alone. Depends upon people, politics, moral foundation of a nation, and how much freedom it enjoys. So, let us not confuse ourselves. The security and human rights are contradictory concepts. Of course, Pakistan's main stance has been on Kashmir about human rights violation. It raises the issue at every forum. And we are in defensive to start proving no human rights violation, to treat these two subjects, human rights violations and terrorism, as two different concepts. Yet, they mean the same thing. It's not that terrorists don't commit human rights excesses, or the state is not capable of terrorism. So that this is most case. If human rights violation committee discipline within our security forces. Similarly, ever since the terrorists succeeded in their violations, they again have been isolated. Today, they don't enjoy that type of euphoria that was around their name as if they are freedom fighters. Though they all over the world are known as terrorists. Once I met Mr. Vajpayee in Geneva, where he was representing India at the Human Rights Commission, United Nations Human Rights Commission. I met, I said, अटल जी क्या है? बहुत बुरा हाल है। मैं क्यों? हम completely isolated रह सकते हैं। हमें कोई support नहीं मिलती। मैंने कहा, our case is not as bad as you think it to be. What's our case? Maybe just 10 minutes I can explain it to you. And I just talked to him. That human rights, I don't deny that are being committed. But what are the safeguards that our system provides? And international human rights organizations visit that. And also the Human Rights Commission. I said, you just pose the question, does Pakistan have any such safeguards? Do the militants who come from across the line, across the border, are they under some discipline? Are they under such safeguards? So that's the position that you have to take, that human rights violation, whoever commits it, harms his own interest. Moreover, I said, human rights, the University of Human Rights, studying University of Human Rights, and Indian Constitution, particularly its chapter of fundamental rights, you find a remarkable similarity in the words and languages. All those rights, right to freedom, right to protection of life, all these are present in the Constitution. And strangely enough, it may be considered the Article 19 of Universal Declaration of Human Rights and Article 19 of Indian Constitution are exactly the same. Right to freedom, freedom of speech, expression. So because our country is based on the culture of human rights. If we weaken our human rights, we weaken the very basis of our nation. And you know, this was part of freedom movement also. During the freedom movement, a separate organization, Civil Liberties Union, headed by Jawaharlal Nehru, was formed to guard against freedom, human rights. Apart from freedom movement, it was a separate cell constituted by eminent lawyers and human rights experts of that time. If we go still further, it is rooted in our civilization. There are certain rules of war also. In ancient wars, there used to be time where how to fight wars. There was permission not to kill an innocent. When armies were fighting each other, Ramayana and Mahabharata, other, those they bring enough evidence to fact that India from time immemorial has been following human rights. And we compromise human rights, we compromise our civilization, we compromise our value of freedom movement, we compromise the data set this country has got, being country of Gandhi. We defame Gandhi and we don't live up to the expectations that Gandhi had about this country. And we also weaken our democracy. So, in a way, this is in our best interest to preserve it. And I was just reminded of a statement of Chief of Army Staff, General J.J. Singh. 2 days back, he said, at the Chandigarh section that was given to him, he spoke there, he said, he cited a case. He met a young widow of some militant